Hi, Christoph here. Here's a short introduction to the Bitcoin design slide template that I published on Figma community. So the idea is to have a series of slide templates that you can easily put together to create your own presentation. So you don't have to worry about the layout, but you can focus on what you want to communicate. So this file here is available in Figma community. You can duplicate it. I just published it, so nobody's done it. Hopefully you'll do it. And then once you're in there, you'll see a handful of things. So this is the main landing page. This is where you build your presentation. Then if you look at the pages here on the left, there is the cover. This is really just what's shown in on the public community page. There's a series of components, which is pretty straightforward. But one thing to note is that all these slides templates are using standard components and variants. And I'll show that here in a second. Then we have a series of templates. So just a few different colors and just some very simple layouts. I think that's a lot of times that's actually fine unless your presentation is very text heavy, but it's a starting point we can add to it if you feel like there are things missing. Then there are also some slide examples. So these are from the RC3 FOSDEM and Figma config presentations. So it's just a handful of different ones that show how these slides can be used. And you can see there's always the tendency here is to have one big title that communicates the main point of each slide. And then there's some type of visual treatment. Here in this top row, you see that it's kind of a left and right here in these with some image here on the side, potentially a background color. Then you see the ones where the text is kind of in the corner and the image fills up a little bit more of the space. Then you see here a few more crazy ones here that make use of the white space in a lot of different ways. Then these four here use images more so. So you can also see that template here that's split left and right. Same as this one. And this is kind of a top and bottom split. So if you kind of have a more of a rectangular image that you want to show, that could set it up this way. We had some slides where there was actually no text or almost no text, but it was just one big image or one big graphic. And then there were some pretty random ones using this this texture here that we use kind of as a chapter beginning or at the very end of the presentation. So those are just examples. Yours doesn't have to look like that at all. It can look totally different, but there are things to, maybe they provide some inspiration. Then when you're working on your presentation, a good idea is to just copy paste the templates that you want. And I'll just show real quick how you can work with these components. So I'm going to duplicate this one here, zoom in a little bit. And then let's say I want the title to be bigger. I'll click in here. And so I have these two components here, the page title and the page header. Page header includes project name, presentation purpose. Project name, a lot of times it's also kind of a title of this page in the examples. And presentation purpose, those, we've used, let's say, just the word FOSDEM or config 2021 or so. And then let's say, this is my page title, but let's say I want it to be bigger. I can use the variants here on the right. So I want it to be big. I just say, okay, make it bigger. And let's say I don't want a description, then I can just toggle this here. So that way I don't have to go in and adjust any type sizes. I can just work with some of these options here. Or let's say I want this to be white because I'm changing the background of my slide here to be this super awesome red here. And then, I'll do the same thing for the header here, also making it white. And then, I barely have to touch anything about the colors, and then I can drag my image in here. But let's say I don't want a 50-50 split. I want this to be a little bit wider because my image is more white. Then I can just simply drag this over here, and I get kind of a different setup. So it's meant to be fairly prescriptive, but still with a good amount of flexibility built in. And then, it's really kind of up to you. And feedback would be fantastic, because as you create more presentations, I'm sure some new requirements will come up that these templates don't quite satisfy. So it would be great to hear that and then have that flow back into this main template, so it becomes more useful for anybody who relies on it in the future. And that's it for now. Thanks for listening.